This is WCSS 1490 on your dial in Amsterdam, New York. And what the heck, skip the music. We got a lot to do today. This is the show with no name. I'm Bob Going with Gavin Murdoch and Jim Nicosia. And of course, our special contributing editor, Phillip Tambasco, here to tell us about all things Amsterdam here now and hereafter and theretofore. Is that right?
Yes.
And you're not taking some kind of exam today, right?
I am, after this.
Oh, after this. This is how you study for your exam? What's the subject?
Biology.
Biology. Okay. Well, you know. All right, what does DNA stand for?
You forgot his extra special guest.
Oh, wait a minute. How come this is not... I'm not hearing anything here.
He's not hearing anything?
Are you in?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's not...
There we go. Now we're all on.
We're all on?
You should be on. Say something.
Hello?
I'm still not hearing you.
I didn't hear you.
Wow.
Say it again.
Hello?
Nothing.
Okay, now try it.
Again?
Okay. All right. Okay, we're good.
Am I on?
We're on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, the question is, what does DNA stand for?
Oh, boy. It's something nucleic acid, I know that.
Something...
Okay. Dial something? Right.
Maybe your sister knows. You know the answer to that? No. No?
But it'll be a multiple choice question, so
Okay.
he'll recognize it when he sees it.
Yeah, it's the one that has like DNA built into it. Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
that.
Maybe they don't teach that anymore.
No, they do.
You just didn't know.
I know what RNA stands for, not DNA.
Oh, what does RNA stand for?
Ribonucleic acid.
Yeah, see, that's easy. That's the easy
Yeah.
one. Yeah. All right. All right. How many?
You don't know that. I didn't either.
How many sets of genes on a human chromosome?
46? Right.
I don't know.
That's why I asked you the question.
I'm asking you. I figured.
I'm pretty sure it's
Figure somebody who's had it more recently than 50 years ago might know it better than I do. Okay. All right. So you're not worried about that?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Because I think I'll do fine on it.
Okay. So you've you got a pretty good grade in biology so far?
Yeah.
All right.
Ask him who his teacher is.
Who's your teacher?
Mr. Orpella.
Oh, Mr. Orpella was a classmate of Mr. Murdoch. And he was a year behind me at
Those were ancient
Bishop Scully, and his both his father and his grandfather appear in my book. If you had gotten around to finishing my book since the last time you were here.
I read part of it. I'm getting there.
Okay, it's toward the end.
Okay.
All right, I'll know when you get there that you've read most of the book. All right, now this is kind of we've kind of got Donlan on our mind these days. All these interesting little things. Hugh Donlan, of course, wrote the essential Amsterdam book, Annals of a Mill Town, some years ago, and I gave you a copy of it one time when you were here. I thought I was giving you one of 3 copies I had. In fact, as it turns out, I gave you one of 4 copies.
Because you still have 3.
Because I still have 3. I found another one in the attic. But it makes sense because I had one myself originally. I have my father-in-law's copy. I have Bob Conover's copy in my office. And the one I gave Philip was Bob Conover's sister, Teresa, out in Santa Barbara, California. I got her copy. So I gave it to Philip. I figured I had enough.
3 copies are enough?
3, yeah.
You got one upstairs, one downstairs.
Well, one in my office.
One in the bathroom.
One in my office. Actually, now I don't know what I did with the. One on the second floor and one on the first floor. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Several offices.
Anyway, so I don't know if you caught the Gazette over the weekend. I think it was Saturday's Gazette. Bob Cudmore did a column on Hugh Donlan, and interestingly, he began writing a book in the 1930s, and it took him about 10 years to write it, and it's never been published. His son was a captain or an admiral or something. He was an Annapolis grad, lives in Connecticut, I think, and he has the only copy. So there's yet another the history of the Mohawk Valley that's never seen the light of day. How do you like that? Something to look forward to.
Yeah, self-publishes it through Amazon, and he'd be all set.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not hard to do these days.
A lot of guys do fly-by-night books on that.
Easy for you.
Hey. I don't know what he meant by that. Yeah. So, actually, if we could steal a copy of it, steal the only copy, we could put it out under your name and nobody'd know the difference. They'd say, well, a historian.
Yeah, sure.
Makes sense.
Why not?
They probably wonder why the history of the Mohawk Valley ended in 1949, but that's... And then going through my attic, as I've been cleaning my attic out, and I came across a photograph of young Hugh Donlin, still trying to really time this thing. I thought when I posted that picture that Hugh Donlin was several years older than my grandfather. And they're both in the same picture, and my grandfather is the short little guy in the front row, and Donlin is a tall
guy
kid in the back. And there's like 70 kids in this picture. But if you take into account, age, states of development at puberty are different, then it could very well be the same class. Because according to Cudmore, they were born the same year. They were both born in 1896. So.
One could have been born early 1896, and the other could have been born late. Could be almost a year difference.
Yeah, Des was born in the middle, so it's...
half a year's difference.
Yeah, so... no, they were only a couple months apart, actually. So much for that theory. And yet they're both there in the same picture. So I had this picture down, and then, of course, we have you coming on, and you've been using this book to stump everybody on your website. What's the name of the website?
You know you're from Amsterdam, New York, if.
You know you're from Amsterdam, New York, if on Facebook. And I got to say, Philip, I was disappointed in your knowledge of local theaters.
Oh, no. I got confused. I thought I read it somewhere, and I don't know what happened.
You got confused.
Well, they're all in the same street, in the same area. I got lost.
All right. We'll end with the 1950s or early 60s because we don't want to get into the movie houses of the 70s and in the mall and stuff like that because things got confusing after a while. But the old houses, my dad used to talk about going to the Orpheum when he was a kid. Now, the Orpheum was gone by the 40s. But I remember it being, the paint on the side of the building still said Orpheum when we were kids, and it was on the west side of Market Street, above the bank, and I think before the Peter Schuyler Hotel. You remember that?
No.
You don't?
I don't remember that.
Okay. All right, I guess we got to stump the Phillip question.
Maybe.
This is WCSS, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Let me turn my radio down. This is Diane Hatzenbuehler.
I know you.
I know you do, Bob. Listen, the meeting tonight is going to be changed from the high school to Lynch Academy.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so that we can take a vote immediately after the presentation. This is at the request of the investors. So it will be 7 o'clock at Lynch, and the various media outlets will be notified, and it'll be posted on various Facebook pages.
Okay, very good. I hope all our staff here at WCSS is listening to this. He's got it.
I hope so, too.
He's got it. It's already on the calendar.
Okay, and tell Phil thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Later. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. So the big gambling meeting is going to be at Lynch. And the reason for that is they can't vote outside the city limits.
For city business.
On city business, yes. All right.
That's by law.
Well, of course. And it makes perfect sense. I don't know who thought to schedule it at the high school in the first place.
Who do you think?
I mean, the Common Council doesn't schedule their own meetings?
No. The titular head of the regime does that.
Really?
The Queen does that.
She decided that it would be outside the city limits?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now we know why it's screwed up. Anyway, it's going to be at Lynch. That way they can vote on it afterwards. Otherwise, they would have had to get in a fast cab, go to our intermodal transportation center, hop on a city bus, and then go up to City Hall and vote on it. And by that time, it'll probably be past midnight and illegal.
That'll be
So,
illegal. You got to make another notice.
all right.
24-hour notice.
Okay. All right. Back to the important stuff.
Back to the theaters.
Now, 41 Market Street, where I maintain my office. Well, as a sort of.
As a memorial.
As a memorial to my former law practice. That used to be the Rialto Theater, and the center entrance door of the building, which is not used to be the main entrance to the theater. And there were several storefronts on the lower level and offices on the second level. And it was a great old vaudeville house. I don't know, a couple of 1,000-seat theater. It was a lot.
Big.
It was a lot, because I know we took 200 seats out of the balcony to put in the Elizabeth Street Playhouse for the Adirondack Players, and it didn't make a dent in the either in the balcony or the place as a whole. So the rest of them all went down. They're all buried underneath that parking lot, along with all the old movie posters and Bela Lugosi's dressing room. And, yeah. That was a great old. That was in the style of Proctor's, a little smaller than Proctor's in Schenectady, but same style, same era. Terrific theater, and then it became a motion picture theater. And I knew a guy who was the projectionist in the '60s. When Joe Isabel owned it. Joe Isabel, who runs the station, ran the Rialto Theater. I think he was still in high school, wasn't he, when he started that?
Yeah.
And they would show second run movies. It was the best screen in town. It was a beautiful screen, beautiful theater, and if you didn't mind waiting a week for Wild in the Streets or something like that. You ever see Wild in the Streets?
No.
Yeah, you should see that. It's about guys like you. Guys your age decide they're going to take over the country.
Don't give me any ideas. Don't give me any ideas.
Huh? No, it's true. It's an incredible movie. It is incredibly bad, and it's got Shelley Winters in it, Hal Holbrook, a host of top actors in this idiotic movie about kids taking over the country. Yeah, nothing can change the shape of things to come was a big song came out of that. So this rock star leads the youth movement, and they lower the voting age to 15 and take over the country. And the way they do that is by pouring LSD into the city's water supply. And yeah.
It came out in the mid-'60s.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw that at the Rialto Theater. And what was the one down the street, Gavin?
Sure. Ask me when I have a brain freeze.
It was the Regent.
Yes.
The Regent. Regent, same side of the street.
Next block down.
Next block down, about where the Professional Plaza is now, and kind of in the middle of that. Only it was, on the street.
Right next to Larrabee's.
Yeah. Then
Between Larrabee's and
Yeah.
right, brain freeze. I can't think of it.
okay, very good. I'm glad I moved the microphone. And then in the East End, down by St. Mary's, next to where Centro Civico is now, was the originally the Shine, and it was originally something else, but as a movie theater, it became the Shine, and then later the Mohawk. Now, you know anything about the Shines? The Shine family?
No.
They're from Gloversville, and they started out with the Glove Theater in Gloversville. That was their flagship theater. And they eventually had a chain of theaters that ran across the country. It was a huge chain. It was one of the biggest chains in the country. And they owned all three theaters in Amsterdam, the Rialto, the Regent, and the Shine. And what they would do is the Rialto would show the first run movies, and then after they'd been there for a week or two, or about a week, then they would move down to the region. And the Shine kind of sometimes showed new movies and sometimes showed third runs. In other words, a movie was out 6 months ago, they bring it back for a couple of nights, like the one I have in my book was the Andy Hardy movie, Life Begins for Andy Hardy.
Yeah, these other movie theaters were the DVDs of their age.
They were, yes, yeah. And of course, there was no TV. There was radio, but if you wanted to see something, you had to go to the theaters. Yeah. You go all day. You go on a Saturday, they'd be showing the serials, they'd be showing cartoons, they'd be showing the B-run movies, and there'd be the feature film, and then there'd be the newsreel, and then they'd start the whole thing over again. So you could go in and
You can spend the whole day at this.
spend the whole day and into the night, actually. Yeah.
And many times we did.
And the ushers had uniforms, kind of like bellhop uniforms.
Yeah, with their flashlights to make sure you weren't
Weren't
doing something you shouldn't be doing in a movie theater, but that's the reason we went.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So you got that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure now.
All right. Now, where was the Tryon, Philip?
Okay, that was on East Main Street, right?
All right.
Well, Main Street, yeah.
North side of East Main Street, between Church and Liberty. All right.
Yep.
And I believe it took the spot of one of the old Cassidy block buildings. There were two Cassidy buildings.
Yeah.
And one burned down in the 40s, and the Tryon took its place, I think, in the late 40s. So at one time, there were actually all four, in a very brief period of time, all four were operating.
Usually three.
But the Tryon pretty much put the region out of business.
That was a modern theater. That's
Yeah.
The Tryon had a balcony.
But it wasn't really like
But
a
it
balcony.
wasn't really a balcony.
Those
It was
were called loge seats.
Loge.
Loge.
It's like in the baseball park.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a separate entrance. You went in the same entrance, only you walked up the stairs.
In front of it. Yeah.
In front, yeah.
About 5 stairs, 6 stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the balcony, you could smoke.
Oh, could you?
Yeah.
Smoking.
And that was it, right? That was it.
Yeah.
Oh, Gavin, you rascal.
First date there.
Is that right?
Yeah, first date. Cindy Dudak.
All right.
Dr. Zhivago.
Okay.
My arm hasn't recovered from that night. Still sore.
Oh, and so tell me about Dr. Zhivago, Gavin. Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
No, a number of times since. I don't remember the first version.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Zhivago. There. We've had this conversation before because I dated her also at a different period of time. So,
Much later.
much later.
She was too young for me.
Yeah.
So what's your stump the Philip question going to be today?
I already stumped him. He
kinda stumped myself on
he
that
stumped
one.
himself. When I thought he was kidding. I thought he was just trying to fool me, and he was messing with my head because he kept goofing up to where the movie theaters were. And
How's your response been on Facebook to that?
To that?
to screwing up.
Oh,
I don't really know. No one said anything about it,
no?
but no.
He got his 1,000th, right? 1,000th customer on Facebook.
2013 now, I think.
Wow, it's amazing, isn't it?
7 months.
Those
All
are
right.
just responses.
These are
No, people
have
signed up.
joined.
Oh, okay.
People have joined. Yeah, so they get regularly get on their news feed what's going on Philip's page, and a lot of people participate in the questions.
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you? You followed that thing I did with Clara Clisby.
Oh, yeah.
The Clara Clisby essays from the 1880s. I don't even know if I told you guys. I actually went out in the woods and with the camera and found the stone quarry.
You did.
because I did get the map from Bruce Conover showing me where the stone quarry was, where the sawmill was that was referred to in the story. The long abandoned quarry. She writes about in 1888, right? Yeah, long abandoned. Lord only knows how old it was.
Where'd you find the sawmill?
I did not.
You didn't find the sawmill.
But only because it's the wrong time of year. I got to go back in the fall when the
Leaves are off.
vegetation is down. I was in the general area, and it makes sense that would have been where the sawmill was. It's a little, if you're looking south to north, it's to the right of the power lines, but just off the power lines, not far from the quarry. But the grass was about 4 feet deep, seriously, and unless you're in there, unless somebody's been in there ahead of you, it's rough going, and a lot of fallen trees and stuff you have to step over. It was quite the mess. But there were some huge fallen trees in there that may be that old, I don't know, that were cut down and just never cut up in the sawmill, because she mentions that in the essay, that there were unsawn logs and other sawn logs. A couple interesting things about the quarry. It's much bigger than it appears from the Google Earth photograph, because much of it is overgrown, and much of it was filled in with water afterwards, and then became like a jungle. So when you actually get down into it, you can see that it's more than twice the size of what it appears from the satellite.
For the people who didn't follow that and do the reading on Facebook, where are you talking?
Well, if I tell exactly, people are going to be trampling all over it, but it's in the Truax Road area, below Water Street Road, in the fields behind the old Truax Road School. By the way, I have a question. Does the school district own that, or does Head Start own it independently?
Head Start owns it independently.
Okay. All right. When did that happen?
Before my time. The following things. Probably sometime in the 70s,
Okay.
late 70s,
All right.
I'm guessing.
All right. So you can't use that for your new cab building then? That's
No.
too bad.
No.
That's too bad. So why do we have a Head Start when we got preschool in the school district now?
Well, the school district, all the kids who are in pre-K
Yeah.
don't go to school district schools for pre-K. Yeah, Whispering Pines, and there's some other private suppliers for that. Head Start is a different category of program. It's a federally funded program. I think there's some particular qualifiers that go with that.
Yeah, but what difference does it make at this point?
Well, Hillary, let me tell you.
Coin a phrase.
Yes. What difference does it make?
Why I understand when there wasn't a 4-year-old program in the regular schools, but why are we funding 2 separate programs?
Because once things are established under the federal government, they never go away.
That's right. It's the closest thing to eternal life we'll ever have in this life, as Ronald Reagan used to say.
Yes,
federal program.
That's right. Go on on and on and on, regardless of the effectiveness of the programs.
All right. Now we've done the movie theaters, Philip. What were some of the other entertainment things people used to do in this town?
I don't know. Gamble.
Gamble? I don't know where you got that idea from.
About that.
No, I was thinking more about the one you brought up the other day, bowling.
Oh, bowling. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one on West Main Street there.
Wilton?
Yeah. Wilton Bowling. Wasn't there? You talked about the other one on Church Street, right? Before.
There was the one at 100 Church Street was the. No, I've forgotten it already.
Banisters, right?
What? Banisters.
Didn't they have another place too?
Yes, Banisters used to be, I think, Division Street maybe? Where was it? Where was Banisters originally before they moved up there? Because they weren't on Church Street very long.
No, there is. You might be right. It might have been Division Street.
But where? I don't even know.
over there on the left-hand side, right across from the right-hand side, down a little ways, but not too far.
Yes. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so that you could stop there on your way home from junior high.
Unless you're going.
Yeah. There you go. So, got it?
Yeah.
You know where you know where the junior high used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And you had St. John's.
St. John's had bowling alley. The St. Mary's Institute had bowling alley in the basement.
P&A had a couple alleys, didn't they?
Is
In
that?
the corner of P&A?
Not sure. Would make sense.
I think they did downstairs, a couple alleys.
Yeah. And you bowl at all?
Do I know?
All right. You ever been bowling?
Yeah.
You're familiar with the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, to me, very hard to believe, but the first automatic pin setter did not come into existence until after World War II. And I think the first one in Amsterdam wasn't until about 1947 or 48, something like that.
That's why you had pin boys.
Yeah. You were a pin boy,
I
right?
was a pin boy. Yeah. Not very good at it because my hands were small. I couldn't grab too many pins at a time.
Oh, I can't. It must have taken forever to play in those days.
I don't know. They threw them up in the rack and they'd put the rack down. It wasn't like they were individually spotting each of the pins.
Well, when I was pin boy, that's what we did. We put them on the pins,
On the spots?
on the spots.
Yeah.
You step on the little thing and the
Little-
pin come up in the floor and you put your pin on it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, at least it was a little bit
That's
automated.
why they called them pin boys.
Pins.
Really?
Yeah.
So the pins came up.
The little spikes would come up through the floor
Yeah.
where the pin was supposed to go, and you've got 3 or 4 pins in your hand, and you're trying to set them on there as quick as you can because they're waiting to throw another ball.
Yeah, and they'd probably throw it at your head if you're not
Well,
done.
if you didn't get out there quick, you could get hit in the leg with a flying pin.
And what you were like in an elevated chair or what? How did you get about?
In the back of the wall where where the cushion was for the pins to hit.
Yeah.
There's a little seat on the corners, so you'd sit up there on that little seat, and when the ball come down or the pins, you'd raise your legs in the air so you don't get hit.
Wow. Now you're throwing 2 balls and say you knock down 4 pins and leave 5, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to clear out the ones that had fallen before
No.
they rolled again? Or in those days they just rolled into the pile?
If they rolled it off the edge, you just leave them there.
But if they laid on the lane, you had to
Right
pull
on
them
the
off.
lane, and you got to pull them off.
But then you
Yeah.
did pull them
Yeah.
off. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And then you got to put the ball on the racks so it'll go back.
Did you ever get hit by a flying pin?
I got hit once in the leg, but it wasn't bad. It was just the guy wasn't a very fast thrower, so he hit the pin just right, and the pin will come flying. And
Wow.
I think you got 10 cents a game to set up pins. I think it was 10 cents a game.
Wow.
So you didn't make much money, but a lot of fun.
Well, 10 cents a game. Yeah, 10 cents is 10 cents. 10 cents used to buy you
2 packs of baseball cards.
or 2 packs of caps with 5 rolls,
That's right.
or a penny a roll for caps.
Yep. Put in your cap pistol and go around and shoot people.
That's
Wait a
great.
minute, they're illegal now. You probably don't even know what cap guns are.
No,
do-
I know what they are.
Yeah.
I got a roll of caps home, and it's still in
No, they're
the
illegal.
box.
They're illegal.
But that's why they're home.
Ah. You can get raided.
They're on the lane side of the bed, right? just in case.
Down in the cellar.
Yeah, that's what we. Yeah, that's the only thing I remember spending my allowance on was
Caps?
Was caps, and I didn't do that very often. Mostly, I just kept my allowance. My allowance was probably, at most, a dime ever. Yeah. I don't know.
But you were worth it then.
Probably. Yeah. And you could get. Let's see, how much were popsicles in those days? Those were a nickel, right?
Yeah.
Nickel.
Popsicles were a nickel, and you could split them in 2 and give one to your friend.
That's right.
Popsicles.
Yeah,
If you had a friend.
I know.
If you had a friend.
Yeah.
When you went for popsicles, you didn't bring a friend with you.
Well, I don't know. What do you miss about old Amsterdam? If you were to go back in time, what would you like to see?
Well, what would I like to see?
Yeah.
Downtown.
Yeah, I you didn't miss that by much.
You know, it's. I was talking to some young people yesterday, and people still.
That's a relative term for you, though, Jim. Young. Define what you mean, young.
Well,
You know, under 78.
you see the abuse I get? And people still don't know that this is privately owned. That this,
The mall is.
they think there's a. Why doesn't the city do? I said, don't you know? I said, these kids are. Their kids are early 30s. And I still don't know that the mall is privately owned. I said, wow.
Oh.
But I straightened them out fast.
Good.
Which one of your questions has gotten the most response that you've put up over your 7 months? What's been the most popular?
Okay, hang on. It's stuck between the two of them. It's probably the bars from the beginning, and I posted it the other day. It was I've been posting too many. I can't remember. Hang on. The parks one about where people used to go, like
Hang out
summer
and-
or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there were a lot of parks in Amsterdam.
And people used to go places and all that.
I'm looking at Donlin, and he's talking about the old opera houses.
That's where I got confused. Yeah.
Well, it's easy to get confused. There was a Potter opera house that stood across the street from the Rialto at one time, or where the Rialto later became. But that, we're talking ancient times. That's when the place was still a village. So it was before 1885.
Yeah.
They used it for roller skating, fairs, carnivals. Wow. But the big one was the Neff Opera House, which later became Lurie's. And then that was next to the Hotel Warner, which I think became the Hotel Amsterdam or something at one time.
I got a postcard of that somewhere.
Yeah.
I got recently.
And then later they just called it the Opera House. And, they were on the regular vaudeville circuit and minstrel shows. And it says Uncle Tom's Cabin there, and played there. And
I don't remember.
John Phillip Sousa.
Yeah.
You were named after him about
Oh, I was?
yeah about 100
Sousa?
about 150 years after him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Your name's not Sousa?
No.
You know John Phillip Sousa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm in band. I
Yeah.
know that.
It says John L. Sullivan came twice to play the Opera House. I found.
Do you know who he was?
I don't know who that is now.
John L. Sullivan was one of the first modern heavyweight champ of the world. When they really started keeping track of those things. And he was defeated ultimately by gentleman Jim Corbett. You can see the movie with Ward Bond and what's his name, Robin Hood,
Earl Flynn.
Errol Flynn. Yeah. So the real John L. Sullivan came. They would write stupid plays for him to appear in. And the second act would be like the dummy in the first act boxes his way to glory. So the whole second act would be just John L. Sullivan in the ring with
Boxing somebody
or pretending to box somebody. This is long after he was champ.
Now, was that when they were bare knuckles, or did they wear gloves?
They were bare knuckles, I believe, in those days. Yeah.
They started with bare knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
These guys were tough.
Those guys. And
they fought until somebody couldn't get up.
Right. Originally, there was no limit. It wasn't 12 rounds or 15 rounds. It was, you see some of those fights, they went 113 rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, you could get knocked down and they'd revive you a little bit and get up and fight again. When they couldn't revive you,
That was over.
Then it was over. Yeah. You can understand why they felt the need to develop some kind of rules by and by. But anyway, I found the interview they did with John L. Sullivan when he came in 1894.
Yeah?
Recently. I was up in the archives and found it. Jeepers. As a matter of fact, there wasn't anything in that interview that I could read on the air today without getting in trouble. Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
And what newspaper was that in?
That was the Daily Democrat. Yeah.
Did they have ads for pizzerias in the Daily Democrat, Bob?
Oh, pizzerias. No, because pizza didn't really come to this town till almost 1940. And there was the first place that brought it here was Lansing's on the south side, and they called it La Pizza, put it in quotes. But today, I mean, there are a lot of places you can get pizza in town.
There's only
one.
There's only one place you can.
But there's only one place you can get the best pizza.
That's right. Do you know what that is, Philip? It's Crystal on Forest. Yeah,
Yes.
Tony Sentai's Crystal on Forest, best pizza in the city.
But listen, we were up there for ice cream the other night. Oh boy, wow, wow, yeah. That's all I can say. Yeah. The wife, I think, had the traditional soft ice cream, but I went for the butter pecan. And I asked for small one. It comes out with like 3 scoops.
That's what I did the other day. After school, I asked for a small. Got 3 scoops on it.
Yeah. So listen, on this whole pizza thing, you better run out and get it right away because I'm afraid they're going to take Tony away.
You think?
Yeah, Tony has been acting odd lately, and I think he.
How's that, Bob?
He hands me this slip of paper as I'm leaving after the ice cream. He's cutting the price of his pizzas permanently.
Way.
Wow.
It's not enough that he already has the best pizza in town, and you'd pay twice as much for it if you had any brains in your head, right? He's cutting the price of a 12 cut by $2, cutting it by $2, and a 6 cut by $1 permanently.
Wow.
Well, as I say, his wife's going to find out about it.
Well, I'm going to have to eat up there now.
Yeah. His wife's going to find out about it. She's going to, talk to the family doctor. They'll get a couple of psychiatrists together to sign papers, and they're going to take him away. And then what happens? So if you want to get the best pizza in town and get it at cut rate prices, unbelievable.
Go
I don't know how he
Crystal
does it.
on Forest, Tony Sentai.
And that leads me to begin to wonder, about that other thing he does. When you mention the show with no name, when you go in there, you end up with a pile of money in front of you.
You get a 20% discount on all food.
Ah,
Wow.
wow. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know.
All right. So, anyway,
I know how he does it.
Huh?
I know how he does it.
You do know?
Yes. He buys the best product in town to
Yeah.
make the best pizza.
Well, that could be.
Simple as that. You buy good stuff, you can make good stuff.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, but how does he do it for that price? That's
Oh.
Well,
That's an old Italian
that's magic.
secret.
That's magic. And
That's magic.
He's not going to tell you that.
Huh?
No, he won't tell you that. He won't tell you how he does that. He'll just tell you how.
I wonder if he's got that railroad going in back of his,
That's right.
maybe he's getting his stuff shipped in from somewhere.
Yeah, that could be. That could be.
Do you remember when that railroad still ran?
Sure. Yeah, I do. Yeah. They ran into the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
We know what we're talking about? The Amsterdam chucked it under the Northern Railroad?
I know where you're talking about. I didn't know about that though.
It used to be, it would run from just east of the city, where it actually goes up over
Route 5.
the Route 5 arterial, then up on across his Lower East Main Street and goes up on the hill behind the teepee.
Okay.
And then it used to split at the 5 corners.
Oh,
And one went on a trestle over the Chuckton under to the Bigelow Sanford Mills,
Right.
and the other one followed the Chuckton under Creek and paralleled Forest Avenue up to the upper Mohawk Mills.
Right behind Crystal and Forest.
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if Tony's getting a secret truckload of tomato sauce coming in there or something. But he makes his own tomato sauce.
I can remember when they used to have the cars parked right off of the 5 corners there, and they'd leave them there, and they'd take them up, and they come back and pick them up after they've been loaded. But they used to leave them there. I can remember. Whoa.
And it served the paper mill.
Smiley Voorhees.
Smiley and Voorhees, later Sunoco. or Sunoco or whatever it was called.
It wasn't Smiley Voorhees.
But it wasn't Smiley Voorhees, which is easier to say, actually.
You know, the whole time we spent at St. Mary's, we went on 2 field trips. One was the firehouse, the main firehouse, so we could see the pole, and the other was up to Smiley Voorhees paper mill
Really?
to see how they did that. Yeah, I was in first grade. Went to Smiley Voorhees because Pete Smiley wasn't in our class yet. We went up there, and it was amazing. It had that Fort Ticonderoga odor to it because you had all the wet paper. It had that little smell that those places used to produce. Pulp. That's the technical word for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember that.
Pulp.
We're gonna quiz you on the show next
Yeah.
time.
That could be one of the answers on your biology regions. Pulp.
Yeah.
All right. I'll remember that.
Okay.
All right. Do you like your orange juice with or without pulp?
With
Okay. All right.
So do I.
Okay.
So do I. That's real
Okay.
orange juice. The other stuff is fake.
Fresh squeezed or fresh squozed.
Hey, we're doing pretty good. The camera, I don't have the power cord on the camera today, and it's 10:42 or so, and it's still running.
Still going.
Yeah, that's good. All right. So we're gonna have an abridged version of today's show on. So you better say something important now before the battery runs out.
Did you know you were on the air? You were going to be videotaped and put on the air?
yeah, I assume that.
Oh, all right.
That's what I thought.
I was wondering why you combed your hair this morning. I thought maybe-
Oh, here we go. We were talking about the Orpheum earlier. It was a nickel. You know what a Nickelodeon was? You pay a nickel and they show the movie up on the screen.
It's not the TV station that kids watch. That's
Right.
something different.
Right.
Okay.
Right, and there would just be ordinary storefronts. So those were the first movie theaters before they. But then they had the Theatorium at 8 Market Street. That must be, about where we were talking about.
Yeah.
In 1907, it became the Ideal Theater in 1909. Wow. Bill Sheridan was the manager. Bill Heath sang ballads of the day and about the glories of the old Erie Canal, and blind Harry Hyson provided musical background at the piano. Because, they were silent movies, so they had to do that. Wow.
So you had to know how to read then because there were subtitles.
Oh,
since
okay.
there's no
Here's
words.
the last of the smaller cinemas was the Orpheum on the ground floor of the Sugden Building, the Masonic Temple on Market Street, which was taken over by Tom Shelley and Ed Winbill in 1919 and operated by them for many years.
So the Masonic Temple moved. After that is when they moved over to the west side of Market Street.
Yeah. And what became the Mohawk had previously been the Strand. Before that, it was called the Schaefer Opera House. And before that, it was called the Lyceum. And somebody had posted a photograph of the interior of the Mohawk Theater before it was... It didn't look anything like we remember it. Not at all. It was more like the Rialto, with the balcony and the box seats,
Yeah.
like at Ford's Theater, and yeah. Aside from that, Mrs. Lincoln, how'd you enjoy the show? Yes.
So what do you got planned for your Facebook page coming up over the next couple of weeks that we can anticipate? Or
More questions. Always more questions.
That's the simple answer.
Yeah,
He's not going to give you any
Well,
more.
he's not going to tip his hand?
I mean, I've been getting more stuff, and I've been trying to do it more where there's only one answer, and you have to guess it. And then instead of having like a multiple answer question, but that tends to get more people though, so I don't know.
Do people ever send you questions to ask?
Oh yeah, people send me things to find out, and
Oh, really?
all the time.
You're the go-to man now for all things Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a girlfriend, do you?
Nope.
Right?
I'm
You don't have
too
time.
busy.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm too busy.
You don't have time. Wow.
Yeah.
But he's always looking for prospective ones, but he gives this questionnaire about Amsterdam and none way he's passed the test yet.
I should do that. That's not a bad idea.
That's right.
That's what it's all about. Be
Yeah.
careful, fellas.
What do you know?
If somebody's going to answer the right question, then you're sunk.
All right, Philip, let's see. Back to the Rialto Theater.
Okay.
Reality.
Back when they were doing the vaudeville shows, the following acts played there at one time or other. Burns and Allen, do you know them? George Burns and Gracie Allen?
No.
Ever see the movie Oh God?
No.
Well, George Burns plays God in that movie.
Okay.
And he used to have a TV show with his wife and a radio show before that, and that was the Burns and Allen show. Very popular. He was 100 when he died,
Wow.
and still performing. Estelle Taylor, you remember Estelle Taylor? No? Jack Benny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jack Benny?
Jack Benny's not meaning anything to you. Find Jack Benny. Those were surreal television shows, let me tell you. He did radio and television.
You've got a
But
computer, you've got to go on, you've got to
Hey, Google.
these things. And
Yeah,
you'll-
well-
and you'll see one of the shows. They'll just show you one of the shows.
Buddy Ebsen.
Do you remember Buddy Ebsen?
I know the name.
Beverly Hillbillies?
Yes, that's where it's from.
Right? He
Yes.
played Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies. He played Barnaby Jones, the detective, on TV for years after that. He had to be in his 80s
Yeah,
by
he
the time
was.
he got finished with that.
He was a hoofer.
He was a dancer.
Yeah.
Now,
Did you know that word, hoofer?
a hoofer, yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what he was when he was on vaudeville. He was a dancer,
Okay.
and he did a couple movies with Shirley Temple, and probably the most famous movie he never made was The Wizard of Oz.
He was supposed to be the...
He actually is in the movie as the Tin Man in a
Okay.
couple of distance scenes, but they use this silver paint on his face, and it almost killed him. He had an allergic reaction to it. Ended up in the hospital with anaphylactic shock. Or,
Yeah.
it's probably not right, but whatever.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You don't know that word?
and-
Biology, right?
And so they got
No,
Jack,
I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah, and Jack Haley took his place, and Jack Haley, of course, became famous for playing the Tin Man, and Buddy Ebsen wasn't heard from again for another 20 years till he became Jed Clampett.
That's right.
All right. Wow. Tryon was constructed in 1948. That's about right. The grand opening had a Kirk Douglas movie, The Champion.
The champion.
I found a picture of that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good movie, too. He was kind of slimy in that. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't on the straight and
He was an
narrow.
anti-hero. He was an
Yeah.
the first of the anti-heroes. He didn't care what, he wasn't fussy. He would play miserable characters in his early movies and not worry about it. He didn't care whether he was the hero or the villain.
No, he was looking for
I mean,
employment.
sometimes he was both. But, yeah. You know Kirk Douglas, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Izzy, we call him around here.
Izzy Dembski.
Izzy Dembski, right? After the, after the Neff Opera House became Lurie's department store, his goal in life was to someday be the manager of the men's department there. That's when he got out of high school. He went to work there as an assistant to the assistant manager of the men's department at Lurie's department store. And he probably worked with my grandfather's brother, Harris Nichols, who was in the shoe department there for many years.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, there you go. All
Who
right.
knew? Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew all these things? Well, if you go to
If you download his book, you can find out.
right, or if you go to Philip's Facebook page, you're going to find out all these things.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes he asks questions a little obscurely. You don't know what he's
Obscuria?
like. The one a couple days ago. What was across the street from the Rialto
but-
Theater?
Well, a lot of
What,
things
what,
were...
what, a lot of things were. What were you looking for?
Mohawk River?
Were you looking at anything in
No.
particular?
No, I really wasn't. Just the whole block.
Oh, you were looking for the
Yeah.
whole block. Okay.
Nothing.
I didn't see them. I lost that.
Well, okay. Yeah. So Knights of Columbus was a big building. Okay.
Yeah, before the Knights of Columbus.
You know, I noticed a sign finally went up that says Columbus Square.
Yeah.
Now that the Knights of Columbus
are gone.
aren't there anymore. Yeah. They finally got around to putting up the sign. I don't know if I don't think they've put up Marnell Square yet, have they? Over across the river, Common Council voted on that in 2007, something like that. Or, no, it was earlier than that.
Probably.
2005. I don't know.
I don't think.
Yeah. Well, you got Persico Square at the end by the Armory, and then the opposite end, near where the bridge is going to be, or the overlook to nothing. Did you hear the show last week? The guy called in and he.
Oh yeah.
And I was being a smart
Fellow.
smart dupa, and I was saying, well, look, you got no view looking down the river except for the other bridge. And the guy calls up. He says, that's phase 3. He says, you tear down the highwai bridge so you get so you'll have a better view to justify the $16 million you spent for the view on the river and the overlook.
It's either that or they'll paint some murals.
And we're gonna, yes, that was the other thing, is paint the mural on the side, just make it look like you're looking
Oh,
down.
yeah, you go.
Put a green screen there, and
Yeah.
you can project whatever you want.
Yeah.
Little green on the bottom, blue on the top. It'll look like.
Yeah, I'm sure Jamie could do something with that.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's your ticket.
Keep waiting for Jamie to come home, by the way. You know my son, Jamie? He's my third child. He just did the Godzilla movie, and he's working on Expendables 3. I guess he finished that a couple days ago, but they got him working on something else. He was supposed to come home in February, but he keeps working. I don't know why. He's working 12-hour days.
It's funny why they do that.
I don't know.
Making money.
Now he's going to go out to Utah once he gets done with that. And
Run an Ironman?
He likes he likes going out in the desert and canoeing those little rivers into canyons up in Utah. He's a big fan of the national parks out there. So maybe we'll see him end of July now. I don't know. I was kind of hoping he'd help me clean out the attic. But.
He'd throw things away.
Hey, I should give a shout out to my Louisa. She was at Fenway Park last night, and they managed to keep within 1 or 2 people of her being on camera all night long. She was in the second row behind home plate, but just to the right of the net. And actually, a ball came down right in front of them, and her boyfriend was eating French fries or something and couldn't be bothered to go for the ball.
Whoa.
So this guy reaches from the other side of the net and catches it.
Ex-boyfriend.
No, but you'd think that would get on camera. It doesn't, Shakers. Anyway, they won, so.
She's still with that kid?
Huh? Yes.
He didn't go for the ball to give to her? And
What?
he didn't go for the ball so he could give it to her?
Well, this happened the last time they had those seats, and he had clam chowder in his hands that time. And, of course, the real fan would.
Let it go.
You can always buy more clam chowder.
would take the clam chowder and throw it in the face of the guy who's trying to reach around and grab it,
That's
right?
That's the way things go.
Yeah. Anyway. So hi, Louisa. I hope you had a good night's sleep after that game. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good seats.
Who is on your Facebook with your question, who always responds? Is there anybody that, besides people who might be here, who else are your biggest fans?
I don't know. There's like a lot of them.
Yeah, there are.
There's a lot of know-it-alls in Amsterdam.
Well,
right?
and I hold back. I do.
You give people a chance.
Yeah, but like sometimes.
Otherwise,
answers.
I know, but
he
he posted at because he posted before he goes to school, so he'll post it like at 6:38, and at 6:39 I put the answer in for the day, and it's over. So.
And then sometimes people don't know like where I am and why I'm not answering.
Yeah. Hey, Phillip, how come you're not answering our question? What do you mean?
I'm in Mr. Arpello's class. I can't.
Is Mr. Arpello mean? Do you?
No, I like him.
Oh, okay. Sure this is the same Tony Arpello?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, he'll.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you this the other time you were on, one of the other times you were on, but my son had Tony Arpello. I guess all my kids had Tony Arpello, and they had a project. One of these physical projects they had to hand in. And then we have meet the parents night or meet the teachers night at the school, and I go to Mr. Arpello's class, and it's full of parents like myself, And it happened that I had helped my son with this project.
Okay. Yeah.
That's never happened in anybody else's family, Bob.
He singled this project out as an example of what not to do. If your kid comes home and is going to submit something that looks like this, this is not what I'm looking at. And I thought the days of being humiliated in school were over, but no, it didn't stop for me. I didn't tell him either, so he'll never find out.
Until now.
I mean, I do have a bioregion psych at 12, so
Oh, well, you're
I could kind of.
Put down for the bonus question.
I could write that.
Who did that project, Mr. Going?
I thought it was pretty good myself. I guess things have changed. I don't know. Now, you guys must have had Sister Barbara or whatever her name was then, because she changed her name in the middle, right?
Yes.
Bernard
Francis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Boy, she was a local. She was an Amsterdamian and tough as nails. Oh my God, was she tough! But boy, what a good teacher. I mean, as science teachers go, she's probably the best I ever had. She was absolutely brilliant.
She knew her stuff and got us through the regions, no problem.
And she made you figure it out. Sometimes she would tell you the wrong thing, and then ask the question on the test. So that, and if you just repeated back what she had said instead of using your own brain, you lost because you didn't understand the purpose of the scientific method is to be scientists. Not to just accept someone else's word for something.
Not to be a parrot.
Not to be a parrot. And she would not. It would be doing a lab, and she would not tell you how to do it, and she would wait for people to come up and ask her how to do it if they're, Excellent teacher. Whatever. She must have retired by now, right?
She was older.
She's probably
than we
at
were.
the provincial.
Provincial house.
Heck, we're retired. Yeah. So yeah, she must be retired, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Those are the days. Well, we got almost time.
A couple more minutes.
There's a show coming in after us, I guess.
Is there?
Yeah. By the way, I should repeat what Diane Hatzenbuehler told us earlier. The meeting tonight about the town meeting on the subject of the casino has been moved to Lynch Middle School or Literacy Academy or the old high school. The old high school. It's not at the new high school.
Nope.
All
It's
right.
right in the middle of town.
The one in the middle of town. The one where our high school belongs, on top of the hill. All right. That's why they were called the Hilltoppers. Hilltoppers. All right.
Yeah.
Now they're the Running Rams. Why did they change the name?
Well, it depends on the sport. Running Rams or Rugged Rams. Rugged Rams is football. Running Rams are.
But why the Rams? Why not
Well,
the Hilltoppers?
it happened slowly. Originally, the Rugged Rams.
Mayor wasn't involved, was she?
No.
No.
She wasn't even in Amsterdam then.
No. Originally, the Rugged Rams were a name that Art Hafes gave to a particular group of linemen, defensive linemen for the Amsterdam High.
Back in the early 60s.
Right. Now, I say that, but Bert DeRose also claims that he previously coined the phrase in the 50s and told Art Hafes, and Art later used it. And I have no reason to doubt that. First of all, because Bert wouldn't make something like that up, and secondly, because they were really good friends, Bert and Art. So Bert probably fed it to him, but Art made it popular. And then gradually, they started referring to the whole football team as the Rugged Rams during that era, and then
When we moved.
Then when they moved and weren't on top of the hill anymore, well, they are, but it's more of a plateau where they are now. The plateauers doesn't do it, or the swamp feeders, or your school is built on a swamp.
Oh, I know it is.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Get your feet wet when you go in
Especially
the
the
auditorium.
auditorium, it stinks. And,
Yeah.
Does again?
You got to wear boots when you go down. When you're down in the orchestra pit.
The orchestra pit used to have a couple of feet of water in it from time to
They
time.
used to have a water line there in front of the stage.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, let's hope we've solved that problem. We paid enough to solve it. Right.
We were told we solved it.
Yes, we're told to solve it. Oh, by the way, we just ran a minute and a half over our allotted time. So, Philip, you got the whole summer coming up. I'm not going to be here next week, but you guys are, right?
Yep.
You going to run the show without me?
Sure.
All right. Okay, good. And Phillip Tambasco, teenage historian. Good luck on your biology exam and all your other exams. And, feel free to drop in anytime.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I noticed you've had a different person accompany you every single time
I
you've
know
been here.
that every time. It hasn't been the same.
Now, did she drive you down?
Yes.
That's why. Chauffeurette.
This is the prettiest one.
All right. So thanks to Philip's sister for bringing him down here. And we'll no podcast Friday. The show will be on next week. I'll be back in a couple of weeks. And this has been the show with no name here on WCSS 1490 on your dial in Amsterdam, New York.